Akandamandalakaram Vyaptam Yena Characharam Tatpadam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Ajnanati Mirandhasya Jnana Jana Shalakaya Chakshurumilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Stavaram Jangamam Yatam Yat Kinchit Sacharacharam Tatpadam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Bhavajivyaphi Yat Sarvam Trilokyam Sacharacharam Tatpadam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sarvashruti Shirorana Virajita Padam Bujaha Vedantam Buja Suryoya Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Chaitanya Shashvata Shanto Yomatito Niranjanaha Hindunaga Taladita Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Jnana Shakti Samaruda Tattvamala Vibhushitaha Bhukti Mukti Pradataja Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Aneka Janma Samprapta Karma Bandha Vidahine Atmajnana Pradhanena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shoshanam Bhava Sindosha Yapanam Sara Sambadaha Gurur Padodakam Samya Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Na Guroradikam Tattvam Na Guroradikam Tapaha Tattvajnana Param Nasti Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Manadashi Jagannatha Madguru Shri Jagadguru Mamatma Sarva Bhutatma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Guru Rajiranadisha Guru Paramadevatam Guru Parataram Nasti Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Tvameva Mata Chapita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhuscha Saka Tvameva Tvameva Vidyagadinam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Tvameva Mata Chapita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhuscha Saka Tvameva Tvameva Vidyagadinam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Vishwananda Raja Rishikesha Vasa Parama Dayala Mohana Krishna Vishwananda Raja Rishikesha Vasa Parama Dayala Krishna Vishwananda Raja Rishikesha Vasa Parama Dayala Mohana Krishna Vishwananda Raja Rishikesha Vasa Parama Dayala Mohana Krishna Om Gurudeva Shri Gurudeva Jagat Gurudeva Vishwananda Raja Om Gurudeva Shri Gurudeva Jagat Gurudeva Vishwananda Raja. Om Gurudeva Sri Bhutabhrteshwarnath Jagat Gurudeva Vishwananda Raja. Hari Om Narayana, Hari Om Narayana, Hari Om Narayana, Vishwananda Raja. Hari Om Narayana, Hari Om Narayana, Hari Om Narayana, Vishwananda Raja. Vishwananda Raja, Rishikesha Vasa, Parama Dayala, Mohan Krishna. 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 Atma Jyoti Sri Bhutabhrteshwarnath Swami Vishwananda Prematara. Atma Jyoti Sri Bhutabhrteshwarnath Swami Vishwananda Prematara. Atma Jyoti Sri Gurudeva Swami Vishwananda Prematara. Atma Jyoti Sri Gurudeva Swami Vishwananda Prematara. Hari Om Narayana, Hari Om Narayana, Hari Om Narayana, Vishwananda Vishwananda Hari Om Narayana Hari Om Narayana Hari Om Narayana Vishwananda Hari Om Narayana Hari Om Narayana Hari Om Narayana Vishwananda Hari Om Narayana Hari Om Narayana Hari Om Narayana Vishwananda Vishwananda Raja Rishikesha Vasa Paramadaya Mohan Krishna Vishwananda Raja Rishikesha Vasa Paramadaya Mohan Krishna Atma Jyoti Sri Bhutabhrteshwarnath Swami Vishwananda Prema Avatara Atma Jyoti Sri Bhutabhrteshwarnath Swami Vishwananda Prema Avatara Atma Jyoti Sri Bhutabhrteshwarnath Swami Vishwananda Prema Avatara Atma Jyoti Sri Gurudeva Swami Vishwananda Prema Avatara Om Avatara Shishaya Namaha Om Vishamaya Namaha Om Devakarya Samudyataya Namaha Om Sukshmatanave Namaha Om Chinmayaya Namaha Om Guru Murtaye Namaha Om Sundaraya Namaha Om Sulochanaya Namaha Om Sumukhaya Namaha Om Charuhasaya Namaha Om Keshavaya Namaha Om Padmabhujaya Namaha Om Mandagamanaya Namaha Om Charumbaradharine Namaha Om Ramaya Namaha Om Mandirasthapakaya Namaha Om Shri Bhutabhrteshwarnath Namaha Om Gayatri Ajvane Namaha Om Arpana Svigarakaya Namaha Om Vishnu Pujakaya Namaha Om Namo Narayana Mantra Pasakaya Namaha Om Swaramayaya Namaha Om Madhurakantaya Namaha Om Krishna Sankirtana Lulupaya Namaha Om Stotra Priyaya Namaha Om Mitabashine Namaha Om Vagnine Namaha Om Chitrakala Visharadaya Namaha Om Vratadharaya Namaha Om Sadave Namaha Om Jagatpantaya Namaha Om Sarvalokahitaya Namaha Om Bhakta Priyaya Namaha Om Surdaya Namaha Om Anukulaya Namaha Om Neyaya Namaha Om Sudarshanaya Namaha Om Bhaktavatsalaya Namaha Om Premamurtaye Namaha Om Shubhekshanaya Namaha Om Pritivardhanaya Namaha Om Swastidayakaya Namaha Om Tarakaya Namaha Om Anugrahaya Namaha Om Vardhanaya Namaha Om Architaya Namaha Om Artaya Namaha Om Siddhipradaya Namaha Om Janardhanaya Namaha Om Manoharaya Namaha Om Mahakshaya Namaha Om Siddheshwaraya Namaha Om Basmabhushitaya Namaha Om Atmalingaya Namaha Om Lingachana Protsakaya Namaha Om Siddhi Sadanaya Namaha Om Madhavaya Namaha Om Omkarapasakaya Namaha Om Sukshmaya Namaha Om Vishokaya Namaha Om Satvikaya Namaha Om Samadakshine Namaha Om Dakshaya Namaha Om Achintyaya Namaha Om Nirankaraya Namaha Om Nirmohaya Namaha Om Avyagraya Namaha Om Jitakrodhaya Namaha Om Vinayashilaya Namaha Om Svavashaya Namaha Om Kushalaya Namaha Om Shamaya Namaha Om Satyadharmaya Namaha Om Nirvikalpaya Namaha Om Viraktaya Namaha Om Atidraya Namaha Om Satyasandaya Namaha Om Pavitraya Namaha Om Madhurasvabhavaya Namaha Om Suranandaya Namaha Om Nandanaya Namaha Om Prasanatmane Namaha Om Bhaktanidhaye Namaha Om Sakshaye Namaha, Om Samatmaye Namaha, Om Sadayogine Namaha, Om Haraye Namaha, Om Sutapaye Namaha, Om Saumyaye Namaha, Om Guyaye Namaha, Om Vimuktatmaye Namaha, Om Gabiraye Namaha, Om Guptaye Namaha, Om Atmaramaye Namaha, Om Shrinivasaye Namaha, Om Devaye Namaha, Om Yutidharaye Namaha, Om Dhanyaye Namaha, Om Gurave Namaha, Om Duratikramaye Namaha, Om Gahanaye Namaha, Om Bhagavate Namaha, Om Harisharana Margadarshakaye Namaha, Om Kutastha Jagatakaye Namaha, Om Abhiprayaye Namaha, Om Sarvamata Samatyaye Namaha, Om Shamaikata Bhavavardakaye Namaha, Om Premavatara Sri Vishwananda Swami Namaha. Hato Deva Avanturo Yato Vishnu Vichakrame Prativya Sapta Dhamavih Idam Vishnu Vichakrame Tredhani Hate Padam Samo Dhamasya Bhagum Sure Trini Pada Vichakrame Vishnu Gopa Ata Abhyaha Tato Dharmani Garyene Vishnu Karmani Pashyata Yato Vitani Paspashe Indrasya Yujas Sakaha Tad Vishno Paramam Padagum Sada Pashanti Suryaha Viveka Chakshurakatam Tad Vipraso Vipanyavo Jagruvagum Sasamindhate Vishnu Yat Paramam Padam. Premavataraaya Vidmahe Satgurudevaya Dhimahi Tanno Vishwananda Prachodayate. Om Premavataraaya Vidmahe Satgurudevaya Dhimahi Tanno Vishwananda Prachodayate. Om Premavataraaya Vidmahe Satgurudevaya Dhimahi Tanno Vishwananda Prachodayate. Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvigham Kuru Me Deva Sarva Karyeshu Sarvada Sarva Karyeshu Sarvada. Om Bhurabhuvasvaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Yo Yo Na Prachodayat. Om Bhurabhuvasvaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Yo Yo Na Prachodayat. Om Bhurabhuvasvaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Yo Yo Na Prachodayat. Shri Krishna Vishnu Madhusudana Ketapare Narayana Achyuta Trivikra Chakrapane Deityadi Sanjatara Sridhara Vasudeva Gopala Krishna Haraye Tava Suprabhatam Shri Rukmini Shabhamanasha Hare Murare Radesha Gopisha Surupa Dhamadi Hanya Shridhara Kashtaya Vaikuntha Pate Bhuvane Kamurte Gopala Deva Haraye Tava Suprabhatam Deenakrute Kamala Rupa Varaha Murte Te Vikramaya Bhuvane Dhruvarama Rama Shri Rama Krishna Yadunandana Kalki Rupa Gopala Krishna Haraye Tava Suprabhatam Govinda Madhava Mukunda Paratparesha Damodara Jagadananda Kadalishori Gopa Gopi Jana Sampriya Dina Bando Gopi Jana Priya Hare Tava Suprabhatam Shri Ramdishai Bhujagali Patalpashai Sarvakta Hrisadhadashai Ramangashai Shri Gopa Bhava Madhudalpa Sukadishai Gopa Vallabharaye Tava Suprabhatam Shri Kashyapatri Sukhanarada Gautamari Brahmarshi Sangamani Sangama Bharatesho Tishtanti Deva Tava Darshana Bhagya Heto Gopala Shekhara Haraye Tava Suprabhatam Mandara Jari Tulasi Dalamadikadya He Maryani Anjali Putek Samuna Haranti Tishtanti Tvatvavata Tale Munindraha Radha Manohara Hare Tava Suprabhatam Vedatrayam Patani Gautamakana Guryaha Gayanti Sadguna Gado Varada Savargaha Sankirtayanti Tava Nama Gada Visheshaha Shri Naradari Rishaya Tava Suprabhatam Govardhano Dharana Gopa Kishora Gopa Gopi Janamrita Suresha Bhavadi Poda Trilokya Mohana Sumangala Divya Deha Shri Rukminisha Varada Tava Suprabhatam Shri Ratsachina Sharanagara Parijata Bhaktarti Panchana Kripakara Dina Bandho Divyamtakaya Dijana Priya Divya Rupa Shri Nanda Gopadanaya Tava Suprabhatam Padmaksha Padma Mukha Padmadhara Prameya Padmalaya Stahita Padma Nivasa Shori Padmodhavati Surasevita Pada Padma Padmadinata Haraye Tava Suprabhatam Vindatale Viharanaya Mahendra Manya Kandarpatarpa Haradiya Sudesha Rupa Chandrananaya Sida Chandana Litna Deha Govinda Yadavaraye Tava Suprabhatam Shri Nandanandana Yashoda Kumara Dira Ayanga Dina Dadishona Supushpahara Nilambudana Susharira Ramadihara Gopala Deva Haraye Tava Suprabhatam Shri Vakshti Jantani Satya Suganti Bhaura Shri Mitra Vindra Divasa Prabhu Purvikadya He Vishtanti Divya Bhavane Tava Sevanardam Gopi Manapriya Hare Tava Suprabhatam Shri Krishna Achyuta Ananta Mukunda Shori Radha Manohara Janardana Chankrapane Namani Divya Munayurna Nishambadanti Brahmi Muhurta Samaye Tava Suprabhatam Shri Krishna Suprabhatam Ye Patanti Ahanisham Bhuri Kritam Mahapapa Shri Krishna Grahe Tukam
Parmeshvara Paramakrishna Sachitananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Sarvakarana Karanam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami
Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami
Chintamani Prakara Satma Sukalpa Vriksha Lakshavriteshu Surabhira Vipalayantam Lakshmi Sahasra Shakta Sambrama Sevyamanam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami
Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Vedam Kvantam Aravindadaraya Taksham Bhanavatam Samasidam Buddha Sundarangam Kandarpakoti Kamaniya Vishesha Shobham Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami
Alola Chandra Kala Sadvanamarya Vamshi Radhangadam Pranayate Nikala Vilasam Shamam Tribangalalitam Niyatam Prakasham Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami
Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Angani Yasya Sakalendriya Viddimanti Pashyanti Panti Kalayanti Chiram Jaganti Ananda Chinmaya Sadutvala Vigrahasya Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami
Advaitamachutamanadim Anantarupam Adyam Purana Purusham Navayauvanam Cha Vedeshu Durlapamadullapamatmabhakta Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami
Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Pantastu Koti Shatavatsara Sampragamyo Vayoratapi Manaso Muni Pundamanam Sobyasti Yatra Parasinyam Chintatatve Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami
Ekopya Saura Chaitum Jagadanda Koti Yaschaktirasti Jagadanda Chayaya Dantaha Andam Tarasta Paramanu Chayam Tarastam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami
Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Yadbhava Tadiyo Manujastateva Tantam Yarupa Mahima Sarayana Purushaha Shuktirya Eva Nigama Praditestu Anti Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami
Ananda Chinmaya Rasa Pratibhavitadis Kavirya Eva Nicharupataya Kaladihi Goloka Eva Nivasatya Pivatma Bhuto Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami
Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Premanjana Chulita Bhakti Vilochanena Santasadeva Vidayeshu Vilokayanti Yakshama Sundarama Chintya Gunasvarupam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami
Ramadhipurti Shukalanyamena Tishtam Nanavataram Bhuvaneshu Kintu Krishna Svayam Samabhavat Paramapumanyo Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami
Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Yasya Prabha Prabhavato
Tasya jagadam nashatani sute Tregunyatadvishaya veda hitayamanam Sattva valam viparam Sattvam Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami
Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Ananda chinmaya rasatmataya manasu Yapranidam pratipalam smaradam upedya Vinani tena tuvanani prayagya darshan Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami
Golokhanami nijadam nitale chatasya Devi mahesha haridhama suteshu teshu Teke prabhava nichaya vihitaschayena Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami
Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Sri Sri Pralaya sadhana shanti reka Jaye vayasya bhuvanani viharti durga Ishana rupa matiyasya jateshyatesa Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami
Shriram yatagadi vikara vishesha yoga Sanjayatena hitatam pratadasti hetoho Yasham bhutam api tatha samupaiti karyat Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami
Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Nirpachireva nidashantaramabhyupetya Nirpayate virikaheti samadhanarma Yastadhineva nisarishvataya vibhakti Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami
Yakaranavala jale bhajati sma yogam Nidramananta jagadanga saroma kupaha Adhara shakti magalamya param samurti Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami
Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Yasinta vishwasita talamatavalambya Jivanti loma vilaja jagadantanakaha Vishnur mamanshaya yasya kaladishesho Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami
Bhasvanya jasma sakaleju nijeshu tejaham Shriyam priyat prakatayatyapi tattva Brahmaya esha jagadam lavidhana karta Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami
Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Tanpada pallavayugam vinajaya kumbha Vande pranama samaye sananani raja Dinam nirantu paranasya gajantrayasya Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami
Agnir mahikaganam ambum marudishascha Kalastadatma manasiti jagatrayani Yasmat bhavanti vibhavanti vishanti yamcha Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami
Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Yachakshuresha savita sakala jahana Kaja samasta suramurti rashesha desha Yasnadnaya pramati samrita jala chanto Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami
Dharmotha papa nichayastutayastapamsi Brahmadikita patadhavayascha jivaha Yantattamatra vibhavam prakata prabhava Govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami
Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Yasvindra Gopamadavindra Mahostakarma Vandana Rupa Palabhajamanantanoti Karmani Kindati Kintu Chavanti Vajam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Nambroda Kama Sahaja Pranayadi Viti Vatsalya Moha Guru Gaura Vasilya Bhavane Sanchitya Dasya Savishintanuna Purete Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami
Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachitananda Vigraha Anadiradi Govinda Sarvakarana Karanam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami
Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami.
Om Agnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Jai Gurudev, good morning. I thought there were more people for Navaratri. Guess I was wrong, or they're just recovering. So today's Bhagavatam verse is from Canto 12, Chapter 13, verse 21. Yogindraya namastasme sukhya brahmarupine samsara sarpadashtamyo vishnuratam amumuchat. The translation is, I offer my humble obeisances to Sri Sukadev Goswami, the best of mystic sages and a personal manifestation of the absolute truth. He saved Maharaja Parikshit, who was bitten by the snake of material existence. So, funny, I've never been to this, or if I have, very, very infrequently, this chapter of the Bhagavatam and this verse, because it is the last chapter of the Bhagavatam, and it is one of the very last verses in the entire Srimad Bhagavatam. And I chose this verse because it's very sweet, right? First of all, let's start, maybe, who knows or who doesn't know the story of the Srimad Bhagavatam? What is exactly the story of the Srimad Bhagavatam? Who doesn't really know about it? Okay, a couple of you. And probably many more online, or whoever will hear this later. Is that very briefly, there's a great king. He's cursed to die, right, in 7 days by a snake bite. So in 7 days, he's going to be bitten by a snake and he's going to die. And he seeks the advice of this great rishi, this great sage, Sukadev Goswami. And what is the best thing that one could possibly do if you know, right? He has the great benefit of knowing when he's going to die, which is a great blessing. Because everybody dies, right? We're all going to die. But we have no idea when. And there's many, many beautiful verses in the Bhagavatam, especially, that I've talked about many times. And in humans' lives in general, in our lives, we don't consider this, right? We think that we're going to live forever. We don't think about our own death, right? we think as if we're going to keep living, and we get distracted all the time by everything else that is actually meaningless. Because at that time of death, for what use is it all? Right? Cannot take it with us. And so, again, this is one of the very last verses of the Bhagavatam. And it's giving praise to Sukadev Goswami. But actually, even before this story of King Parikshit, right? That he was saved by sage Sukadev Goswami, who was bitten by the snake of material existence. Even before just this story, the one who compiled, who wrote the Srimad Bhagavatam, who knows who that was? Or who doesn't know who that was? Okay, same people, no problem. I'll give you a summary again. So there's a story, and actually in doing a little bit of research last night, very late at night, trying to think about what to talk about, I came across a very old YouTube clip of Guruji, 10 years old, even before I knew him, from 2013. And he's talking about how Vedavyas came to write the Bhagavatam. And so he says, one day he's there, right? And Vedavyas is known for his composition, his division of the Vedas. He wrote many Puranas. He wrote the Mahabharata. He wrote all of these incredible, great scriptures, right? These foundational scriptures of Hinduism. He compiled them, divided them, all these things. But one day he's sitting at his ashram and he looks gloomy. He's not happy. And Sage Narada comes by and says, "Why do you look so glum? Why do you look so sad?" And he says, "I'm not too sure why exactly, but something feels missing. My heart is not happy. I've done all of this work, but I still feel unsatisfied." And Sage Narada says, "Yes, because you've talked about all of these things." Right? He says, Narada says, "You've given preference to dharma, artha, kama, moksha, material religion, economic development, sense enjoyment, but you have not written about the sweet pastimes of Krishna." Guruji says, "You've not talked about this love yet." And so he gives him the task and says, "Write the Srimad Bhagavatam." And what is the Srimad Bhagavatam? The Srimad Bhagavatam is just that, right? Is the story of Lord Krishna, his pastimes, his leelas, and the stories of the devotees. In all of these other scriptures, it's talking about how one should live their lives. But it's not talking about those stories, those intimate experiences, those first-hand experiences that the devotee, that the disciple, that the follower of God, of Krishna, or of Guruji has, right? It doesn't talk about those in detail, but the Srimad Bhagavatam does. And it says in the Srimad Bhagavatam, actually there's another beautiful verse which I probably should have taken, that says, even one who just reads one verse of the Srimad Bhagavatam, no, not even one verse, one sentence, no, not even one sentence, one half of a sentence from the Srimad Bhagavatam will be liberated. Guruji, in his video from 10 years ago, says if you read 2 pages, it's very good. It will be very good. And so the point that I want to talk about today is those stories. Because while the Bhagavatam is talking about all of these great stories and experiences from many, many, many years ago, there are these eternal leelas of the Lord, right? We, as followers, as devotees, are also creating stories. And if you've spent any time with Guruji or around Guruji, you know how much he loves to hear the stories of his devotees. We were just in New York a couple of months ago, 1 month ago, feels like more, but recently, right, there was this big temple inauguration in Elmira, New York. And on several separate occasions, Guruji kept bringing up, he was so excited, he kept bringing up the fact that this one guy there that was living there, this older gentleman, 20 years ago, 25, thank you, Swamiji, 25 years ago, he stopped in front of the church, which is now the temple, and he was praying for Krishna to please open a Hindu temple in Elmira. He stopped in front of the church that is now the temple. I don't know if he was just happened to stop there, and it just happened to become Bhakti Marga temple for Paranitya Narasimha. And Guruji kept telling everybody, hey, this guy, he has this story. You gotta have to hear this story. And then I think during Darshan he was giving, he told him to tell this guy to tell this story. And then again, the next day, tell this guy to tell this story. He was so excited, right? Because the thing that one realizes, really, if you really realize this, if you really understand this, it's honestly one of the most profoundly beautiful, sweetest things you can possibly really understand, which is that all the devotee wants to do, all a genuine, a true disciple of the Lord, all they want to do, the only thing they care about is glorifying the Lord, right? Glorifying Krishna, glorifying their Guru. That's it. They don't care about anything else. They don't care about how many people they might attract. They don't care about fame, glory, money, etc., etc., etc. The only thing, I'm telling you, the only thing that they care about is glorifying their God. And the only thing God loves and cares about is glorifying his devotees. It's hard to really appreciate that. It's hard to really understand that deeply. But it's so beautiful. It's so sweet. And you see that with Guruji. And how he wants to glorify our stories. Yesterday, somebody asked Guruji how him and I met and how was the story. How did we meet, Guruji and I? And so he called me. He was in this room. And there are a bunch of newer devotees that maybe didn't know so well, even though I've talked about it often. And so he called me there to, I'm assuming to tell the story of how him and I met. But actually, I didn't say basically anything. He told the story. So I was just called there to listen to Guruji telling the story of how him and I met. which was so sweet. But the point also is that these stories, these experiences, and I can see clearly in my own life, and the point that I want to make to all of you, is that they are not given for us to keep. These experiences and these stories that God and Guru give us, they're not meant to be put away in a drawer somewhere and to collect dust. They're given as a gift to us to be shared. To be shared with everybody. Because you don't also realize what effect your story will have on somebody else. And if it's not really your story, that doesn't really belong to you, in my example, in my how I met Guruji, or any of the things that Guruji has given to me, the experiences Guruji has provided for me, but specifically how I met him, if I look at it, it's all his manufacturing. I didn't do much, you know? So it's his gift to us, these stories, these experiences that we have, and they need to be shared. Because, like I was saying, that's what he loves also. And often I hear people, they say, oh, but I don't have any stories, or I don't really know what to say, or somebody asks them to give a speech or give a satsang. I don't know what to talk about. I don't have anything to share. No. We all have something that we can give. We all have a story that we can share. If you're here, if you follow Guruji, if you take Guruji as your guru, you have a story. There's no other way. And of course, it's difficult. 2 weeks ago, I talked about how these satsangs in this temple began, right? Before 2019, there were no satsangs. Now, every day, for the last 4 years, there's 2 satsangs every day. And how it started is one day Guruji looked at me and said, "You give satsang now in the temple." And I freaked out, right? But 4 years later, I understand why he did that, and I'm grateful that he did that. So my point is, I don't want to hear this excuse anymore from people. Because Guruji doesn't want to hear that excuse. There was a tough lesson that he gave once where there was one resident who was going back home, and I think, as far as I can remember, he asked him, what are you going to do now when you go back to your home? And he said, something along the lines of, oh, I don't know, no. And Guruji was very upset. Because he said, then what is the point? What have you been doing here, right? In the same way that these stories do not belong to us, why have I given you all of this if you can't even share it? Why have I given you these blessings, these experiences, if you're too afraid to talk about it? You can't even share it. What's the point? It's real. He's saying, I'm not just doing this. You're not just a devotee, you're not just a follower, you're not just a brahmachari or whatever, just because, just like that, just randomly. There's a reason. This world needs help, right? That's why he has manifested himself on this earth, right? It's not just randomly that he's here. Just like it's not just randomly that you're here or that you're listening to this. This world needs help. And it needs the help of the devotees of Paramahamsa Vishwananda. That's why he's here. And so, my point is, I encourage all of you, keep sharing your story. Whether or not you have 1 or 2 or 3 or however many you think you have or don't have, keep sharing it. And don't just think because you've shared it once that the whole world knows who you are. I can't tell you how many times I've told the same stories over and over. The residents will tell you. But everywhere I go, people don't know, what happened to my dad. Some of you might know, some of you might not know. I've told this story so many times. But guess what? I'm going to keep telling it. Because it's my story. That's the story that I have. It's my story. I cannot create some other stories. It's my story that I have, that he's given me. And so keep telling it. Keep giving those stories. And again, you don't know how much it's going to affect people. When I was in America, it was so nice. Because often we just come and we sit here, or at least I feel like that. We talk for some minutes. Then the day continues, things continue, whatever. You don't really know if it's necessarily had an effect. Sometimes people come and say, oh, that was a very nice satsang. Okay, great, cool, thank you. Sometimes people don't. So it's kind of like talking into a void. Can feel like. But when I was in America, so many people came to me and said, I listened to your satsangs and they're so nice and I take something from them. And it was like, oh man, it just kept happening. It was so nice. I said, I didn't know. I didn't know people were listening. It's not just the people in this room. It's not just the people watching online right now, but whoever might hear it, right? And you don't realize what effect it can have on people. So, no more excuses. When a Swami or a Rishi or somebody comes and says, can you give a talk? Okay? I know this is like the worst case scenario. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but start smaller. But if that does happen, whenever that does happen, go and give a speech during Darshan. Do it, man. Because you're not also going to feel more comfortable by avoiding it. And these stories, they're not for you. They have to be shared. They're gifts from Guruji. And they have to be shared. Jai Gurudev.
Namaste Narasimhaya.
Namaste Narasimhaya.
Namaste Narasimhaya.
Namaste Narasimhaya. Bharato
yato yamitato narasimho.
Yato yato yamitato narasimho.
Yato yato yamitato narasimho.
Yato yato yamitato narasimho.
Bahir narasimho, hridaye narasimho.
Narasimho, hridaye narasimho.
Bahir narasimho, hridaye narasimho.
Bahir narasimho, hridaye narasimho.
Narasimham adim sharanam prapadye.
Narasimhadim sharanam prapadye.
Narasimhadim sharanam prapadye.
Narasimhadim sharanam prapadye.
Tavatara kamalavare nakama buddha shringa. Dhanita hiranyakashipu dhanu bringa. Deshavarila narahari rupa jai jagadisha hare. Jai jagadisha hare. Jai jagadisha hare.
Namakara kamalavare. Nakama buddha shringa. Dalita hiranyakashipu dhanu bringa. Deshavarila narahari rupa jai jagadisha hare. Jai jagadisha hare. Jai jagadisha hare.
Keshavadhirita narahari rupa jai jagadisha hare. Jai jagadisha hare. Jai jagadisha hare.
Keshavadhirita narahari rupa jai jagadisha hare. Jai jagadisha hare. Jai jagadisha hare.
Jai Narasimhadev, 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 Jaya Narasimhadev, Jaya
Narasimhadev, 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 Jaya Narasimhadev.
Oh Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Bhakta Swarupa Jaya Prahlad Maharaj,
Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Bhakta Swarupa Jaya Prahlad.
Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev.
Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev.
Sri Vishwananda Gurudev, 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 Sri Vishwananda Gurudev.
Vishwananda Gurudev, 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 Sri Vishwananda Gurudev.
Ramanuja, Ramanuja, Mangala Mangala Me. Yatiraja, Ramanuja, Mangala Mangala Me.
Ramanuja, Ramanuja, Mangala Mangala Me. Yatiraja, Ramanuja, Mangala Mangala Me.
Yatindraya Karunakaraya Mangala Mangala Me.
Yatindraya Karunakaraya Mangala Mangala Me.
Prapatigal Me Kaharataya Mangala Mangala Me.
Prapatita
Ramanuja Mangala Mangalame Yakiraja Ramanuja Mangala Mangalame
Ramanuja Ramanuja Mangala Mangalame Yakiraja Ramanuja Mangala Mangalame
Saligrama Pratishtitaya Mangala Mangalame
Saligrama Pratishtitaya Mangala Mangalame
Dridandatarini Godakachaya Mangala Mangalame
Nidandatarini Godakachaya Mangala Mangalame
Ramanuja Ramanuja Mangala Mangalame Yakiraja Ramanuja Mangala Mangalame
Ramanuja Ramanuja Mangala Mangalame Yakiraja Ramanuja Mangala Mangalame
Range Sakendaya Rataya Mangala Mangalame
Range Sake Karyarataya Mangala Mangalame
Mananataya Darinetaraya Mangala Mangalame
Mananataya Darinekaya Mangala Mangalame
Ramanuja Ramanuja Mangala Mangalame Yakiraja Ramanuja Mangala Mangalame
Ramanuja Ramanuja Mangala Mangalame Yakiraja Ramanuja Mangala Mangalame
Om Jaya Jagadisha Hare Swami Jaya Jagadisha Hare
Bhadraganon ke Sankata Dadraganon ke Sankata Shaname Dura Kare Om Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jyojave Balapave Dukkha Vinase Manaka Swami Dukkha Vinase Manaka Sukha Sampati Karahave Sukha Sampati Karahave Ashtami Te Janata Om Jaya Jagadisha Hare Mata Pita Tuba Mere Sharananda Ume Kisaki Swami Sharananda Ume Kisaki Tuma Vina Ora Na Duja Tuma Vina Ora Na Duja Ashankar Ume Kisaki Om Jaya Jagadisha Hare Tuma Purana Paramatma Tuma Antarayami Swami Tuma Antarayami Parabrahma Parameshwara Parabrahma Parameshwara Tuma Sabake Swami Om Jaya Jagadisha Hare Tuma Karuna Ke Sagara Tuma Palana Karata Swami Tuma Palana Karata Mek Sevaka Tuma Swami Mek Sevaka Tuma Swami Kripa Karo Bharata Om Jaya Jagadisha Hare Tuma Hore Gochara Samake Pranapati Swami Samake Pranapati Disadini Nilum Dayamaya Disadini Nilum Kripamaya Tumato Me Tumati Om Jaya Jagadisha Hare Dina Bandhu Dukha Harta Tumara Shaka Mere Swami Tumara Shaka Mere Karuna Hata Badao Karuna Hata Badao Sharana Pada Tere Om Jaya Jagadisha Hare Vishaya Vitara Vitao Paparo Deva Swami Paparo Deva Shraddha Bhakti Badao Shraddha Prema Badao Santana Ki Seva Om Jaya Jagadisha Hare Dada Mana Dada Saba Hai Tera Swami Saba Kucha Hai Tera Swami Saba Kucha Hai Tera Tera Tujha Ko Arpan Tera Tujha Ko Tvameva vidya dravinam tvameva Tvameva sarvam mama deva deva Tvameva sarvam mama deva deva Asato ma sadgamaya Tamaso ma jyotirgamaya Mrityorma amritam damaya Om Shanti 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 Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Om Shanti 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 Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om
Prem se bolo Lakshmi Narayana Bhagavan ki Jai. Prem se bolo Sri Bhutabhrteshwarnath Bhagavan ki Jai. Prem se bolo Shri Hare Krishna Kanhaiya Lal ki Jai. Prem se bolo Mamta Kriya Baba ji ki Jai. Prem se bolo Sri Bhutabhrteshwarnath ki Jai. Prem se bolo
Sadgurudeva Sri Swami Vishwananda Mahaprabhu ki Jai. Om Krishnaya Govindaya Gopi Janavaya Paraya Paramapurushaya Parakarma Mantrayanta Tantra Oshyasta Shastrani Samraya Samraya Mejor Goshaya Mochaya Om Namo Bhagavate Mahasudarshanaya Diti Jvala Pritaya Savanik Shona Humpa Parashmaye Parabrahmane Paramyotishe Swaha Om Shanti 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 Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om
Jai Jai Shri Radhe
Jai Jai Shri Radhe Jai Jai Shri Radhe
Sham Venkatramana Gonda Gopika Jinasmanan Gonda Bhakta Vatsala Gonda Bhutali Kavarade Eknath Namdev Padrinath Maharaj ki Jai. Samasta Bhakta Mandali ki Jai. Alvar Emperor Kiruvani Ganaye Sharan